you have to step it up a notch and become a commander rather than just directing and having a good time. Sometimes you do have to engage, right, let's get this done, brain.
Hi, and welcome to the Your Story Studios podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things content creation. And today on the show, I am joined by Lewis, and today we are talking about how to direct talent on set. Lewis, how do you direct talent on set?
Wow. Any way I can, essentially. So I'm always a chatty person. I've always been a chatty person. Like, I get it from my dad and my brothers. We just don't shut up. So I like to make friends with people all the time. Being on set's no different. No matter what I'm doing, whether it's an interview, whether it's working with a model on a beauty campaign where I'm going to be in her face all day, or whether it's fashion where, we're going to do all sorts of mystical stuff or whatever we might be doing, get to know people. That's something I'm quite proud of. This is sort of my forte. When I get in set, I'm just locked in, To start with, I guess we could go for, what is it really? What is it your job is on the day? Because, when you're a camera operator or you're a gaffer or you're a sound guy, these roles are defined. You're an art director. Usually you've come up with a concept and whatnot. Directors are kind of these fluid creatures that have to be the conduit for all these people in a way. And they have to really have the vision in mind, whether it's your vision or whether it's sort of in a corporate sense. Being a director is very different to the directors that we know. Like a Chris Nolan has complete control over his set and his crew and his production. It's his project. But when you're working for a corporate client, it is not your project. It is their project. Okay, so you are there to facilitate them. With that in mind, being on set, I would say the number one thing is being a director is about leadership on set with a client. You have to understand the nuances between what the client wants and the vision that you have in mind for them, that is their vision essentially, and you facilitating it. The main point about leadership that I come across most often is being that decision maker on set. So if you're lucky enough to have a full crew, let's go with that example first and foremost, you're going to get asked a million questions. Try not to hesitate too much. Come in with a vision, come in with an idea. And if you don't know, make a decision anyway.
Sound confident when you make it.
100%. That's exactly right. So the main thing is making sure that everybody knows what it is they need to do on set in any given moment. And keeping that time management so you know what you're meant to be doing. Because you're going to have people asking you all sorts of, where do you want this light? Where's the camera going? Makeup will be done in 5 minutes. Or it won't be. Where is makeup? Ask that question. Do you know what I mean? That can happen quite often. What's the styling we want here? What's the vision for this? And once you've gotten your entire crew on board and everyone's like looking this way, you've then got a model or an actor or a CEO or whoever, and they haven't got a clue what's going on. Obviously, you have professional models who understand they're going to get their photo taken. It's about working with them, certainly with video, on how to get the most out of their performance, essentially. Which example should we go for first? I've shot on sets ranging from television to fashion, to beauty, interviews, etc., films.
Yeah, I think maybe let's start off with just a basic interview scenario with someone that may be a little nervous, and this is their first video.
100%. Make friends with them. They are your best friend. You're their best friend, okay? Don't be overwhelming, which I can be at times. I know that much.
I don't believe it.
But no, 100%. Essentially, you just want to make them feel as comfortable as possible. I like to, once everything's set up, we're getting them in position, talk with them the whole way through. We're just going to do these kind of shots. We're going to ask, these are the questions we've got written down. I'm just going to have a conversation with you, most importantly. Quite often you'll have a producer there as well that might help you out with that sort of thing. That is quite a big job of a producer if you're on set and you've got to ask questions. But always, it's all about communication from start to finish. That decision-making that we talked about earlier isn't just about telling people what to do. It's about helping people come to these comfortable positions through the actions that you take. And that's what I mean by decision making. So it's about knowing that that person needs to feel comfortable. We're going to be talking about their business. Ask them questions about their business before you've even recorded. Get them comfortable with the answer. Make sure they know the topic in which they're going to be talking about. Refresh their brains a bit, and work with them that way. That's the easiest way to do it. If they mess up, if they can't get their lines out, they've got a camera on them, there's a lot of stuff going on. just tell them to not worry about it. It's fine. We'll fix it in post.
And smile a lot.
Smile a lot. Have a laugh. It's like, don't worry about the camera. The camera's not important. It's just on. Do you know what I mean?
It's just got a red light as well, and it's capturing everything.
You don't even have to look at it. You don't have to look directly at the camera. That's what news presenters do, right? And it can be quite, intense. And I'm directly talking to you, the audience. But if I look off just to the left, it's a more friendly vibe, and I'm sort of talking, potentially to you, and that's the kind of atmosphere you want to create. So if they look off, you can just get them to look at you. And just have that conversation. You just don't worry about the camera. That would be my main tip for making people feel comfortable. And then once you get them going, make sure you keep them on track, because I am a waffler, as Nathan's discovered today. I am a waffler. Always, I'm like, okay, well, let's just bring it back and let's talk about, tell me more about the way your business runs, or what's something you're proud of about your business. Whatever the questions may be, you have to bring them back to that point. You have to get that sound bite. I've worked on sets with celebrities where we have to ask them 70 questions literally on the page to get a 30-second soundbite, just because we need that range of questions to find that bit that the director wants for the TV show. And it could be anything. And we record the whole thing. And depending on the context you want to give across later on in the show, because of what might happen on stage, you might need to correct that context. So you need all these questions to be asked, and you need to keep them on track, because you might need that little snippet, especially now with social media. So yeah, that's the way to go with interviews. Make them feel comfortable. They're your best friend. Just have a chat with them. Yeah.
My next question would be, these people that you're interviewing, they might be very time poor, or they've got like a very short window for you to use, like 20 minutes or whatever. If you've got a lot of questions, how do you try to use that time as efficiently as possible? Would you try to ease them into the process and ask them just a few questions that, like, what did you have for breakfast? What did you do on the weekend? Just to get them a little bit warmed up, or do you just go straight in there?
Bit of a combo of both, to be honest. I would definitely warm them up a bit, just have a chit chat and get them going. And then I'd be like, right, I'd be up front and be like, look, I'm going to be a little direct. We kind of want this kind of answer. We kind of want this kind of answer. If it's that strict and you're that time sensitive and you just really do need to get something in the can, just be upfront with them about it. Just be like, look, we want to push this kind of thing for you today, and we're going to make you look this good. So we need these kind of answers. You can say it in your own words, but I'm going to be kind of direct, and we can practice a couple of times and just go through it if you've got the time, obviously. But whenever I did Vox Pops and whatnot, when I was at an event, it was always just like such run and gun stuff. And I was like, excuse me, madam, what do you think of this product today? And they'd be like,
get that camera out of my face.
Yeah. They'd be like, ah. And I'd be like, okay, let me slow down. And I'd pause and I'd just be like, just tell me what you thought about the ice cream. Did you like it? And they'll be like, yeah, I really liked it. I'll be like, okay, click. What did you like about the ice cream? Do you know what I mean? And then they'll just be like, oh, it was a great flavor and my kids loved it. It's in the can. We've got it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. See you later. So yeah, if you're time sensitive, be upfront with someone, be direct and friendly and chatty. Always be smiling.
Yeah, for sure. And to get that content that you're wanting specifically, how do you direct people without putting words into their mouth?
Well, essentially, you can guide people with the questions that you ask. So just through interacting with people like you do in your real life, you understand sort of the kind of responses you might get anyway. So if you can be a bit direct, you have to be able to gauge people very quickly. And then with that skill, you can just sort of be like, okay, so what do you think of this? And I know it's very general and vague, but you'll soon pick up, without, like you say, putting words into people's mouths, you can certainly direct them in the way that you want.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot to learn by doing.
There is, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't expect anyone who's like 17 to run onto a set and be able to do this. Like, this is stuff, like I say, I grew up in a chatty family. It's the kind of family you'd be sat in the car as a kid and I'd be like, where's Dad? He's been gone 20 minutes. He's still talking to the guy who just rocked up 5 minutes, and he just would not stop talking. And that's a learned skill. I like to walk into any room full of positivity, full of energy, and just really try and get to know as many people as I can. I like to be that friendly presence. Having said that, I'm terrible at networking events. I get really nervous.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
I don't believe it.
I do. I get really scared in networking events. I just shy away, and I really need someone to give me that first push. So there are, there's that direction, that director sort of mask you put on in a way. You get in there and you've got to learn that skill.
Yeah.
It's definitely a learn. Takes a long time.
And you also set the temperature for the room as well. So if you go in there cold and angry and, I had a bad night's sleep and all that, you're just going to pass that energy on to the people there. So we need to walk in, smile, and be ready for work and get the best possible content for our client.
100%. Yeah. Oh, of course. Like, leave it at the door. I practice kendo as well, which is a Japanese fencing martial art. And we say the same thing. Leave it at the door. You're going to have a great time in there anyway. If you are frustrated with anything going on in your life, trust me, by the end of that work day, you'll be so tired that it'll be gone anyway. Put it to a side. Also, another lesson just from that is I like to focus on one thing to improve on. Every session I'm doing kendo is like, whether it's my voice or whether it's any sort of strikes I might do. It's the same with directing and being on set. I'm not necessarily going to strike anyone, but certainly I like to focus on what do I want to, how do I want this interview to be conducted today? How do I want to work with the light? Is there something I just want to try slightly differently? Don't be experimental, but certainly
That's risky.
That is risky. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. If you wanted to try something, do it in your own home, in your own time before you
by the client first.
Yeah, I mean, there is obviously standard setups you build into your head, but certainly, take a learning from the day is my point. So, yeah, always find something. It's like, you know what, I maybe could have said that a bit better. Maybe I was a little confusing at this point. Could I have been more vocal with the questions? Always try and take something away, and that's how you build that skill set. And then eventually you've got a whole toolbox. You walk into a set, happy as Larry, left it at the door, and you can just nail it.
Yeah, awesome. So we've talked about the unconfident interview. Mm-hmm. How about the confident model? How do you work with them? Or the experienced model?
Okay, so the experienced model, you're just going to have a good day. You're going to have a lot of fun. If it's a model who has worked in video before and understands the difference between photography and video and that element of movement, you're going to have such a great time. Your concern wouldn't be the model so much. It's about everything else then. So you have to flip the script a little bit on yourself and understand that, maybe there's something wrong with the lighting today. Maybe there's something like this. You can explain to an experienced model what you're going to do very clearly. You can block it out with them. They'll understand your movement and where you're coming from. And you can work together all day and just bounce off each other. Again, nice and friendly, always just be communicating, interacting, have a laugh with them. I have a right laugh with people on set all the time. You also have to keep in mind everything else that's going on. So certainly if it's a fashion shoot, timekeeping is like critical to the job. I'm really overindulgent with shots because they usually, I like them to look great. We've got the lighting set up. We've got a beautiful model. We've got these great clothes. We've got a whole set full of people. Well, it's a dream shoot. I want to shoot forever. I want to keep shooting. No, you can't. You've got your detail. You've got your close-up. You've got your long shot. You've got your poses. You've got everything you need. Move on to the next bit. We've got 16 garments to get through here. Timekeeping and focusing on everything else around the set is just as important as working with that one specific person. If you've got that environment and a model who's not confident with video, that's when you have to step it up a notch and become a commander rather than just directing and having a good time. Sometimes you do have to engage, right, let's get this done, brain. And you have to be like, you need to be there. I need that in 5 minutes. I need this. And you turn into that first assistant director, actually, which is a dream job. You just get to shout at people all day. First ADs have got it good.
And people do what you say as well.
Oh, they do. Yeah. I've had some encounters with first ADs before, and it's terrifying. But you get the job done, and that's the most important thing. Moving on to, you get all the equipment set up. If there's a model who's not confident, suddenly there's all these lights on, and maybe it's someone younger, it might be their first shoot doing something like this. I just sort of bring them hone them straight down into just what the camera's going to do. You don't have to worry about all these other people. They're not important. All you have to think about is where this lens is and what it is we're going to be showing and where your movement comes in. So I always like to come back to the position A to position B technique that I use all the time. With photography, a lot of the time they'll move very quickly. There'll be a lot of different snap poses because the flash is going off. We're having a great time. We're moving about. We're capturing that one image and that one moment. And there's constant movement. With video, there is constant movement, but we want it to be way slowed down because this isn't going to get us anywhere, okay? This is going to be great for photography, not for video. So for video, what we want is, say this is pose A and this is pose B. This movement from here to here is more important than the final pose. So we need to be able to communicate that effectively with our model. I've had a model once who did not understand that concept and kept moving really fast. This came down to just slow down a bit more. And then eventually it was just like, okay, I don't want you to move like at all. I want you to literally just slowly turn your head. And then I broke it down into smaller pieces. So if you've got someone who's confident enough to be able to just pull off this move and then go into the next one and understands, the rhythm in which we want, you need to find that rhythm with somebody. That's like super essential. If you can't, break it down even further and go for little tiny bits, get those snippets. Because at the end of the day, if it's fashion, we're looking for the details, we're looking for the fabric, we're looking for how it feels on someone, how it looks, etc. So these are the details we need to capture. So you just need to find that rhythm and that rapport with whoever you're working with and make them feel as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, and when you're directing these people and they're not quite hitting the mark, do you show them video playback or do you have any tips on getting the outcome that you're wanting without necessarily you showing them exactly what to do?
I actually really don't like watching raws back on set. I think it slows the day down. I think it kills the pace of the room. Everyone stops and waits for you to watch the thing or find the bit. I don't do it. If you know you didn't get it or you want to do something different, just shoot the next thing. Just keep going. But get it right. You're directing. You need to work on what that bit is. If they missed a mark, small issue, that's fine. I'm the kind of guy who will just show them. I'll just get up there and I'll do the full pose and I'll whip all this out and I'm like, I really want you to do this. If it's about pacing, I do the whole, you have to use metaphor quite a lot. So if I want a model to go slowly, I always just ask them to move as if it's through treacle. They can visualize that aspect of it. You have to sort of bring them into your world quite a lot. That's what I mean by breaking it down into little bits. It's also subjective and who you're with. You might just have a dream model and you just be like, I just need it to be slower. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I know exactly what you need. And you're like, yes, perfect, I need that. And they know where the camera is as well. When you find a model who knows where the camera is, it's a dream. It's an absolute dream because that's half the battle most of the time. Is like, right, where are you and what's going on? Me showing them how to move and me mimicking their movements often makes them feel quite comfortable because it's funny to look at. And it sort of sets the tone for the day as well.
Thinking about these sets, what kind of protocols will come to mind for you and any advice that you would give to our audience today in following those protocols to get the best out of your talent as a director?
I have worked on sets where art directors and whatnot have grabbed models inappropriately, like on the arm and like just twisted their arm around to get the product in the thing. It's just the biggest no-no in the world. I mean, even like these people are there to be like the vessel for you to produce what you need to produce, right? You need to treat them with the utmost respect 100% of the time. If you need to go in and like correct something, you're more than welcome to do that, but you have to communicate that. You've got to talk with people all the time. It's all about communication. If you just run in and just grab someone or change something, it is their private space. I see it all too often, to be honest. And then I have to, you don't want to have to go to the side with like a stylist or anyone and just be a bit, don't, if you need to go there, and you need to get in, please stop grabbing the model in such a way. Quite often, like when I'm doing beauty work, I am like right in someone's face. I can see every detail of their face because I'm right there. And I will be like, okay, I just need to adjust your hair a little bit. Do you mind me just pulling that back? 99% of the time, it's like, yeah, of course, that's fine. And it's just like, that just needs to go there. And you just correct it. And that's fine. But again, you might be checking a clip on the waist or something at the back, whatever it might be. It's always about communication, making them feel comfortable. And yeah, unfortunately, sometimes you just do see that kind of behavior on set. It's a massive no-no from me. If I see someone behaving like that, I will go to a side and be like, don't touch them like that. Very inappropriate. And we move forward from there, essentially. That's the number one protocol. The second protocol is making sure there's food on set. A bit more lighthearted.
Like today.
Yeah, much like today. Yes, Nathan has provided us with cookies and muffins, crackers, strawberries. Yes.
You got to have a flash of red, a bit of color.
That's
and
right.
A bit of fruit.
A bit of fruit. Fruit and sweets is basically the name of the game. And, you know, if it's a full day shoot, get everyone like a menu log or whatever you guys have here. You know, Uber Eats. Get a takeaway in. Get burritos. Burritos are the number one on-set food. I won't hear anything of it. Also, they do vegan options. They cater to everybody. Burritos are the one. So having food on set I know it's funny because it's sort of like, it sounds trivial. It's really not. It's like, we need to eat. We're working all day. Quite often I won't sit down because you can give yourself a half-hour window. If you're really lucky, you get an hour, although it's going to eat into your day. But like, you get a half-hour window to reset the set. You get a half-hour window to go over your thoughts, to meditate on the things you've shot. That's when you can check any raws if you want to. Quite often, you know, the poor gaffers, lighting assistants, they don't get a break. They're the guys moving the lights around whilst everyone else is having lunch. You know, help those guys out. But that's why snacks are so important. You can just keep going all day. I'll be on my feet for like the whole 8, 10, 12 hour shoot, whatever it is. Having food, critical to your day. The only other procedure for me, protocol that I have in mind is I really like being the first one on set. And quite often the last one to leave, depending on the circumstances. But I always like to get there first if I can. I like to look at the set if I have access to the studio and really think about what we're going to achieve in the day and really set my mind to task. And that's me every day. I'm an expert at distracting myself. If I don't get up in the right manner, have my coffee in the right way and write down my day in the right way, I will not have a good productive day. I'll be too busy getting distracted on YouTube or podcasts or something else. I'll just wander off. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I really need to focus on that early part of the day. That's where I set myself that time to do it.
Yeah. And to finish off the episode, what's your go-to coffee?
Flat white, come on. You can't go wrong with a flat white. Although I did discover a magic the other week and that thing was pretty special.
What's that?
That's the Melbourne, the Super Melbourne thing. Oh, okay. They don't exist anywhere else. They're like they're a ristretto with like a little bit of milk. They sound a lot like a cortado to me, but Melburnians don't know what a cortado is. So it's a bit confusing. Magics, mate.
Awesome.
Get it on it.
Thank you for that advice.
That's okay.
All right. And thank you, Lewis, for joining us today on the Your Story Studios podcast.
Cheers. Thank you.